So right here, you're going to notice that Zane takes a big spook. I didn't shut him down. I just let him take off, and I just stayed steady and tried to help him come back down on his own. I didn't want to interrupt and shut him down and make him feel wrong for getting scared. But then after he'd had a few minutes, then I said, okay, slow down here, bud. Come on back to me a minute. Okay, so what I thought I would do for this session, this is a brand new mare that just came in. I thought I would just talk my way through what's going on here and just kind of give you an idea of what I'm thinking as I work with her. So here, I just wanted to make sure that I can touch her everywhere with my stick. This mare has been handled. She's 15 years old, and she knows a little bit of the basic groundwork, but I've not worked with her before. This is my second time working with her. So I'm just establishing things brand new. I don't want to assume that she knows anything. I don't want to just jump right in and just startle her. So I'm just going to start with some basic movements, specifically focused on some circlings or lunging, whatever you want to call it, just so I can get some basic control of her feet going. So she walked off pretty nice there. She's staying nice and relaxed at the walk, which is super awesome. She does sometimes throw her head with a little bit of an attitude. So here I just step into the hip. I throw a little bit of energy with my stick if I need to, but I didn't even need to tap her, which was really nice. She went ahead and moved over for me. Something I want you to think about is the difference between being sensitive and being responsive. And I feel like a lot of horses are sensitive to things that we don't want them to be, and they're reactive rather than being responsive to the things that I want. And sometimes you'll see that with this little mare where I'll ask her to pick up a trot and she doesn't want to trot. So right here I begin asking her to move forward, but she's not really getting it. And then when she does go, she goes pretty hard and fast, and she kind of throws her head out there like, oh, I don't want you to tell me what to do. So it's kind of interesting. It's been fun playing with her. She doesn't know how to hold her gait very well yet, so we're working on that just a little bit here. She keeps stopping when I'm not asking her to, so I'm trying to gently encourage her to move forward at the trot where she's supposed to be, but it's interesting because she doesn't always respond right away, so then I have to use a little stick to get her to pick up. And then just ask her to shut her down with her hips there, and she comes to me, but then she looks away, which is interesting. It's a little habit I've noticed with her as I've been just being around her. She'll look at you, but then she'll take and put her head way far away from you. She'll stand still, but she's avoiding you with her head. So I like to make sure that my horses are back a little ways from me when I send them off on a circle, because I want to make sure that they can see me. So I kept asking her here to back up, and she kept stepping back in with me when I wasn't asking. And so just trying to get her to say, hey, put your feet there and stay there for a second. You're okay. And then wait. Don't just assume and take off on the circle until I actually ask you to step over there. And then she walked off real nice. That's really good. I really appreciate that about this mare. She doesn't just take off real hard and strong. She reads me pretty well with that. And here, just again, ask with that leading hand. She doesn't really respond. I put a little energy out with my stick. Oh, and there. She kind of thought she'd turn and come in at me, but I felt like her energy was not very positive. So I said, hey, back off. Don't get on top of me like that with that little bit strong of energy. So she's kind of funny because she like ignores you, and then all of a sudden when you get a little stronger, she kind of freaks out and goes hard. And that's just that difference between reactive versus responsive. She's kind of dull to the things I want her to pay attention to, and then she's overly sensitive to all the things I don't really care about, like her environment and her buddies and all those other things that she stops and looks at. And so it'll come. She just needs a lot of practice with this. The other two horses I worked with in the beginning of this clip, Tawny, the bay mare at the beginning, she has been with me for 20 years. And she's got a real good work ethic. And then Zane is gelding that I have had for just under a year. And he's coming along pretty good. He did have that one spook, but he's doing all right. Now right here, she goes to looking at something else and kind of moving her hips away when I asked her to back up. So I kind of correct that. I step back into her hips and say, no, you should not have swung your hips around, and try to make sure she stays straight. Right there, I'm trying to say, hey, go over here to the left, and she's wanting to turn and run right, so I just put my stick up and block. I don't want to smack her for that, but I don't want to let her just pick which direction she's going either. I just block by lifting the stick. Just trying to help her find the right answer. Again there, I had asked her to trot. She waited and waited and waited, and then all of a sudden she took off hard. Her transitions will get smoother as she keeps practicing this, and she keeps learning me. You know, this is only our second time working together, so it's understandable that there's some things that are rough. I'm not worried about it. He just needs a lot of practice. But I wanted to show you guys a horse that I haven't worked with a lot, because I found for myself as I was learning from trainers, the horses I learned the most from was when they were working with a horse that acted more like my own, rather than just showing me their best horses. So right here, I get a little bit distracted off on a different thing because she presented something. So even though my focus had been to lunge her in some circles, I had to take this. And what happened was I asked her to back up, and she resisted me. And so then I said, hey, I need you to shape up here a little bit, and I need you to make sure that your hips can move away from me as you're backing up. And she was kind of resisting me. So I had to stay in that little moment until she got softer and lighter. And unfortunately, that kind of happened off camera. You just see the tail end of that. But I stayed focused on that one thing until I felt like she got a little bit lighter, a little bit softer on that backing up with a curve, where I ask her to back up and kind of put her hips to one side. So you can totally, go back and watch that little moment over again and kind of see what you can watch it several times and kind of get to where you're seeing what kind of happened there. And hopefully my commentary makes some sense for you. Now right here on this circle, because she'd been running off kind of firm, I decided I wanted to get her moving her rib cage over just a little bit, get her shoulders kind of yielding a little bit so that her nose was staying a little more to me. And then she kind of throws a little attitude and says, oh, I don't like that. But I just kind of let her go and then bring her back in and try again. She just needs a lot of practice. She's a sweet mare. She wants to do the right thing. She just isn't sure what the right thing is yet. That's pretty much all horses. Most of them, they just want to be at peace with you. They don't mean to cause a lot of problems. So it's our job to show them and be consistent with what we're asking so that they can find where that peace is. They can find where the soft spot is. Right there, same thing. I led her off to the left, and she said, no, I'm going to go right, and then she got it right. And I said, hey, slow down here. I just asked you to walk off nicely. You don't need to roar off. But kind of keep a bend in your body here because you're kind of running off with your ribs to me, and I want you to kind of shape up here a little bit. Shape up there, little girl. Yep. So I'm just asking her to keep moving forward, but to kind of put her bum away from me a little bit, put her shoulders out on that circle a little bit, and give me her nose because she's wanting to run around me with her nose out and kind of push her ribs to me and push her shoulder against me. And I don't want her to practice being strong against me like that. I want her to be soft and curved on the correct circle. So I just put a little energy and motion into her hips and her rib cage until she kind of bends. And then, I don't know, it just felt like she needed a little reassurance there. So it was like, hey, darling, don't be afraid. I don't need you to be afraid of me. I just need you to do what I say. But try to do it softly. So right here, just waiting a long time for her to just kind of loosen up her feet. And then she roared off, so I wiggled my rope just a little. And she's overreacting here right through this section. I'm asking her to just step off nicely. She's going hard, and all I'm doing is just slightly wiggling. She's slamming on the brakes. She's just reacting instead of thinking. So again, that's going to get better with practice. I'm not worried about it. I don't let it rattle me when I'm working with a horse. I just keep staying steady. I keep, just gently wiggle that rope till they come back down. And right here, my video was technically cut off. My camera was full, so right here in a few more seconds, this video is going to end. But I hope that this was helpful for you. I welcome any questions or comments. Right here, just shaping up her hips a little bit because she was a little lazy on disengaging. All right, thanks, friends. We will catch you next time.